folks, so this is the October 2017 Gentleman's Box unboxing. Gentleman's Box, again, one of my very consistent go-to boxes. I think kind of looking back on the boxes that I subscribe to, I've never had a completely bad box. I can only recall one or two items where they sent an item where it was just kind of like, what were they thinking? Gentleman's Box, the one thing that they do, and they do well, because, for each company I subscribe to, I kind of try to at least, say one really good thing that they hit. The one thing that Gentleman's Box does, and does well, is they will pick a theme for more of a conceptual standpoint. Our favorite blank. And they will curate products that fits that particular theme. So this isn't necessarily going to be a out-of-the-box look. There might be a few pieces that you could pull, but this is more themed around the concept as opposed to a color palette or a style palette. So let's go ahead and see what we've got in here. This is very timely, honoring our favorite King of Horror. And, I have not seen the film It. I do not plan to see the film It. I do not want to see the film It. I'm not a horror film person. I kind of grew out of horror films around 15, 16, 17 years old. But pretty safe to say that Stephen King is going to be our, I really shouldn't have looked in there. Stephen King is probably going to be our author for this. So let's go ahead and see what we've got here. We have a card for J. Arthur, Skincare for Men. And we have, you went all out this month. We have the blood-spattered paper wrapping the material. So let's go ahead and open this up and see, once I can get my fingers in there. Here we go. Oh, you guys are running the It theme way too hard. So before I even get into the content of the box, again, I have not read the book. I haven't seen the movie, but via, friend of a friend, via social media, I know that the whole idea, Pennywise the Clown has red balloons, and the very first thing that they put in this month's box is a red balloon. Again, that's what I love about Gentleman's Box. This is the conceptual theme. Obviously, I have no need for a red balloon, but they put it in there, and it just works. So let's move on to the actual stuff. And the first thing I see here is a pair of Dibby, I believe, theoretically, shoelaces. I don't see a length, though. I should probably also show this on camera, shouldn't I? But, here's the thing. If we look at that, it's a black lace with white polka dots. I have mentioned in past videos, and here's something, oh my god, these, alright, so, look at the ends. If you've ever looked at, like, men's dress shoelaces, they got the plastic, like, the clear plastic molding around it just to keep the laces from unraveling, but look at this. There's, like, actual metal capping on these. I don't know if you can hear that or not. That's metal on my glass desk. I mean, these are really nice. And, the one cool thing about shoelaces is, you can throw shoelaces on dress shoes and kind of make them a little playful. I've mentioned in the past couple months that I'm kind of really upping my game at work because of some political stuff. I'm trying to jockey for a few positions that might be opening up. So I'm kind of doing, the standard dress shirt, the polyester dress pants, and the dress shoes. Throwing, so like, the suspenders are kind of nice. they add a little fun to the outfit. A good tie can add a little fun, but there's not much you can do with, solid color shirt, solid color pants, brown or black shoes, depending on the pants that I'm wearing. The shoelaces, though, they can kind of add a little air of fun to the dress shoe. So I'm really happy with that. Let's jump into our next thing, and this is from Lord of Ties. And we have what looks like a gray gingham pattern. Again, gray is one of those colors you can put it pretty much on everything. You can definitely put it on white. You could theoretically put it on black. Obviously, it works with pretty much any color. I'm loving the look of it. I'm really, really loving the look of it. 100% cotton, made in China. I'm liking it. So far, so good. Let's go ahead and jump into the next thing. So the next thing we have is Keep It Simple Socks. Put your best foot forward. And what we have here, so again, it looks like we're getting a little bit of a color unity between the tie and the socks. Again, various shades of gray with what looks like a bow tie design. Let me give it the obligatory. So, might not be good. Well, hang on. Maybe. If I didn't pull them all the way up, they definitely compress the calf just because I'm morbidly obese. But they actually, they don't feel that merciless. The big question would be, how merciful are they? But, I like the design. Again, I could wear these with a pair of, black dress pants like I'm wearing right now. I could put these socks on the black dress pants. And, again, kind of a fun way to lighten up what's kind of becoming my very drab uniform. So I see one more thing in the box. Ooh, I see one very nice thing in the box. So we have a pair of suspenders from Dibby, the same company that we got the laces from. And I'm going to open these up because, as you can see, I am currently going through a suspender phase at the moment. I wore them very briefly when I was in middle school, and you have to understand this was 1984, 1985, and I was a fat kid. I have never not been a fat kid, or a fat teen, or a fat adult. So I decided at the beginning of the 84-85 school year, I was going to get a pair of suspenders just because I wanted to wear a pair of suspenders. And then I went to school, and some of you who are a little young may not remember a TV show called What's Happening. You're on YouTube. Go ahead and, look it up. Anyway, one of the characters, played by Fred Perry, was Rerun. And Rerun's signature clothing item were a pair of, my God, these are heavy. And that's a good thing. A pair of rainbow suspenders. So, needless to say, September 1984, my fat little ass walks through the door at Torrey Hill Middle School in Fenton, Michigan. And by lunchtime, I already had all the kids calling me Rerun. So I kind of stayed away from the suspenders for a very, 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 very long time. However, once I got my job, I kind of found suspenders are a fun and distinguished way to keep my pants up. And, me being morbidly obese, they can do it in a way that a belt can't. Because, a belt, if you're a bigger guy, the belt can kind of hit the belly and press against it, and it can be uncomfortable towards the end of the day. What I'm doing here is I actually want to see if I can try these on, but just a couple things before I do that. These are like top-notch suspenders. I say that as somebody who's probably bought about 15 pairs in the last 2 years. I say that for a couple reasons. So, one, we have the metal clasps there, and the metal clasps, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this on camera or not, but if we take a look, there we go, I'll just going to use my face as the contrast. If you take a look, the metal clasps are actually lined with plastic. Now, most suspenders will have teeth. So there we go. They'll have teeth, those there. So there's a jagged edge, and the problem is if you wear them on pants long enough, eventually the fabric on the pant will fray, and you're going to ruin your pants. Whereas the plastic will grab and create friction and hold it in place. But here's why I had the moment. Not only do they have the gator jaws in place, but they actually have suspender mounts for buttons. And included in the package are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 suspender buttons. So, if you really want to, like for me, usually I'm running late every morning. I'm kind of like, Fat Dagwood Bumpstead. If you're old enough to remember the old films and the old the comics, doesn't matter how early I get up, I'm always going to be running late. So usually for me, clip the suspenders on, so you the back. Put the back on first, and then clip the suspenders on front, run like hell out the door. Whereas these, you'd have to actually button in place. But I'm loving it. The fabric on these, heavy, heavy, heavy. Even when I was taking them out of the package, they feel heavier than the other suspenders that I have. A good, sturdy fabric. Now, this will be the last test, and I have to do this because, anything that is sized for men, and technically suspenders are sized. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of reaching behind the back here. I got a thumb. Oh yeah, they hold. I could and am totally wearing these tomorrow at work. So, wow. I'm loving everything in the box here. These suspenders, I would love to see. And, I know the folks at Gentleman's Box are going to be watching this because, they watch the videos every time I make one and post one. If the competitors are watching, when I do a boxing, I try not to talk about the competition too much, but, Spreza, if you're watching, I would love to see more suspenders. I think that not enough men wear suspenders. Not enough men think about suspenders as a viable alternative to a belt. And, they are sharp, they are dignified looking. I've had my coworkers, all semester talk about the fact, when I walk in the office, I go down the corridor, I pass everybody's office. I've had colleagues make comments about the suspenders. I really think that they are kind of a lost accessory that is overdue for a comeback. Like I said, it's been 30 years now since there was a What's Happening show on TV. Fred Berry has been dead for a very, very, very long time. We can put men back in suspenders, and we are no longer living under the ghost of rerun. So let's go ahead and just quickly look in the magazine and see what we've got. And I'm looking at that red balloon on my mouse pad, and I'm still loving this. So in the magazine, our first page is from Allie. I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, Allie, no offense. She is the new social media strategist for Gentleman's Box. On the next, our King of Horror. So again, we know who it is, and I just read another detail that caps it. Stephen King, influenced by EC Horror Comics and the uncovering of a collection of horror fiction books at a young age. Our honoree went on to become an American author who achieved posthumous? Oh, maybe not. Wait a minute. Stephen King is not dead. Wait. Achieve posthumous fame. Stephen King's not dead. How can you achieve posthumous fame when you're alive? Through his own influential Gentleman's Box. 10 years as an English teacher. Let me edit these for you. Influential works of horror fiction. He went on to inspire millions of people with his works, which were centered around science fiction, horror, supernatural fiction, and fantasy. Born in 1947 in Portland, Maine, our honoree faced hardship at a young age when his father left their family. In addition to the financial hardship he faced, our honoree also witnessed firsthand the tragic death of a close friend who was struck by a train. Some people have speculated these tragic events ultimately contributed to our honoree's approach to the darker side of storytelling. Our honoree started his writing career in 1959 at the young age of 12. However, his first novel, Carrie, was not published until 1973. Since then, he has gone on to sell over 350 million copies of his books. Many of his books have been turned into movies, including The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption. While both films are extremely popular, the latter of the two is highly considered to be one of the greatest films of all time. In addition to being one of the most notable authors, our honoree has also been known to occupy his time as an actor, TV producer, musician, and singer. He has been honored with many awards, blah, blah, blah. Is it Stephen King? Wait a minute. How can you... Stephen King wrote The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption, I thought. But he's still alive. How can you achieve posthumous fame if you're still alive? All right, so I'm babbling. Moving on. I like what you're doing here. So, this is for the collectors, or the people who have kind of, stuck around and picked up a few boxes. What they've done with their style inspiration is they've taken the tie in the suspenders and they have balanced it out with the tie bar, which I actually wear frequently, and the collar bar, which I have not. Collar bar is one of those accessories that I just kind of, I'm afraid to try wearing. But there we go. So, one thing that Gentleman's Box also does is we're looking through each of the items, the socks and the tie in this case, is they kind of give you a little bit of a guide. So in other words, what is the style? What is the corresponding colors? So again, for somebody who's just kind of new to trying to get the style game up, for somebody who's just kind of new to this whole idea of, elevating their dress game, they give you a lot of little nudges and a lot of help in doing so. The suspenders, I don't know if the style, I might try wearing them a little more casual, but, again, that's me. And of course, the shoelaces, I'm loving the shoelaces. Man, I still can't get over those metal caps on the shoelaces. I mean, that is just fantastic. Let's see. Suspender life. I will not go through the entire thing because I'm already starting to run long here, but know when to use clips versus buttons. Never wear a belt with suspenders and matching suspenders with your outfit, which was kind of the problem that I ran into this morning when I couldn't find a good tie to match with this. Let's see. Transitioning summer wardrobe into fall. Date ideas for the fall. Breast cancer awareness. Scare with style. Charities, we love the Haven Foundation and the Member of the Month, Michael Chavez. Gentleman's Exclusive Deal of the Month. Complete the dapper look with this complimenting bow tie and pocket square from our September 2015 box honoring our favorite suit and tie. You can get them both for $15. So, there we go, folks. Again, really, really, really happy with this particular box. Like I said, the suspenders for me, these were really, out of everything that I got, the suspenders will see the most frequent heavy-duty use. Especially since these came with buttons, and what I may actually do is not only drop the silica gel on the floor, but I may get the dress pants that I have, kind of rotate them one or two at a time over to a tailor and get the buttons installed and actually start wearing the buttons versus the gator clips. So the first thing we have are these suspenders from Diddy. We also have, Dibby, sorry, just to keep the matching set. The Dibby shoelaces, and again, I got to show these one more time. I love these. If anything else, I may go to their website and pick up a bunch of these shoelaces just because I am so enamored. This is such a cool idea. You know, who would have thought about something like this? Then we have, I'll pull these out first, the Keep It Simple socks. Again, the shades of gray with the black and white tie design. And finally, the Lord of Ties tie. So, there we go, folks. If you want to go ahead and subscribe, please, by all means, hit the subscription button down here. I tend to do two categories of unboxings. I do more of the gentleman's stuff, Gentleman's Box, Espresso Box, and Birchbox. And I also tend to do kind of more geek and pop culture themed boxes. So, Loot Crate, Super Geek Box, and Geek Fuel. By all means, also, if you want to leave some comments, please. I love responding to and interacting with people. Beyond that, I will see everybody next month for the next Gentleman's Box. So until then, be good to each other. Stay safe out there. California, hang in.